Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Tonight, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light drafts. Friday, July 10th, first pitch is at 7 p.m. May the Force be with you on Star Wars Night with post-game kids glow around the bases with special lightsaber training packs.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Nobody apparently wants to say it or can say it, but I'll say it. The lady who's accusing Graham Plattner of all this stuff, has anybody actually listened to what she has actually said? I can't stand Graham Plattner. I never would vote for the guy. I never, ever would have thought he would be a good senator. Where the hell did this guy come from? The Nazi tattoo should have been enough. You can't be a senator. But the people up there voted for him, didn't they? The people voted for him. What a bunch of schmucks. Or maybe a better word is chumps. A bunch of chumps. A schmuck to me is somebody, just dumb person who makes bad decisions, right? But a chump is somebody who's utilized by somebody more powerful to do the powerful person's bidding at the expense of the person doing that bidding, i.e. the chump. I listened to this lady, and I didn't listen to it until last night. First of all, here's Graham Plattner getting out. I don't like him, but I have a little bit of sympathy, actually. And you should too, because if it can happen to him, it can happen to you. And I'm not saying you're going to run for Senate, but whatever. If just some person can come out of the past and just say something vague and kind of implying certain things, but she didn't say it. She never actually said, oh, yeah, he raped me. She didn't say that. And she went in all kinds of crazy. It almost sounded like to me the worst thing he did was knock the sewing machine over. The story is so weird, but it's dressed up as this. Okay, she's an accuser. Believe women, right? You got to believe the women. What about evidence? What about due process? Anyway, here's Graham Plattner. Is this the moment? He was 11 minutes, which was probably too long. And he had a lot of pauses. You know what I mean? He was very looking off into the distance and stroking his beard, his goatee. Kind of looks like Chuck Todd. Cut 10, if you don't mind. Cut 10.
We banded together. We did it the way that we were told we are supposed to make change. And we won. And now they are not going to let us have it. Not if it's me. And so we're suspending campaign operations. I want to make clear, though, I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw. The process needs to assure that what comes next is reflective of the Mainers who on June 9th turned out and showed that they are desperate for a different kind of politics. It needs to be driven not from back rooms, but by the will of the people. And the decisions that come next must come from that. All we were asking for was health care, was to end a genocide, to use our taxpayer dollars at home to uplift our communities instead of waging war overseas. We were asking for a fair system. We were asking for an end to the corruption, the end to the money in politics.
Genocide? Oh, yeah. I guess you've been reading the New York Times. You've been reading the Israel Jew-hating New York Times. Genocide. Says who? Great. Never forget what our buddy Sid Rosenberg did. This is a lot of crap, folks. This shouldn't be happening. Now I'm going to play. It's funny. The accuser speaks for about 20 minutes to Jake Tapper. And you go online right now, you can only find little smidgens. I found the entire thing last night, and what I heard really amazed me. I'm like, wait a second, this isn't right. And Jake Tapper's not cross-examining her, not actually. There's got to be some skepticism. There's got to be some fairness here. There must be. And it has to be for my enemies as well as my friends. And if I just want it for my friends, what good am I? What good are you? Everybody gets fairness, should have fairness. Now, I understand politics is a dirty game and horrible, unfair things happen in life. But he went through the trouble of winning the election by 50 points 3 weeks ago. This is wrong, everybody. This is wrong. Here's the accuser. I can't quite tell what she's accusing him of because there's a lot of weirdo contradictions here. Cut 11, if you don't mind. Cut 11.
I remember it being an instant where I had recognized that he wasn't listening to me. It wasn't just that he wasn't hearing me or whatnot. And then I recognized his level of intoxication, and I knew in that moment I wasn't safe. And I don't think I was safe to physically fight back. He's big, he's strong. And I just had to evaluate my safety and come up with the least worst outcome to this situation. And so I felt like complying for my safety was the least worst option.
She complied for her safety. Do me a favor, Justin. I think this is the full Graham Plattner. All right. And it's 11 minutes, but there are a couple of things there. And if you think, again, forget him. Maybe it was your son, daughter, brother, father, some male relative of yours. If you can take a guy out of a job or out of something he's worked hard for with just this kind of flimsy story, and it's flimsy, everyone's at risk. This is Kavanaugh. Look, a lot worse things were said about Donald Trump by women. Now, I didn't believe them. A lot worse things were said about Joe Biden. They became president. Why isn't this guy allowed to be the nominee? The stuff that's alleged against him is not nearly as severe as the stuff that Tara Reid said about Joe Biden. So that's a freaked up situation. All right. So do we have the whole thing? All right. We're just working on that. Hey, you know we have fried chicken here for lunch? There's fried chicken in the... Santa Claus fried chicken, and it's free. It's beautiful. The other chicken is grilled chicken. No one's taking the grilled chicken. President Trump got back at 2 a.m. last night, and now he is in the Oval Office working. If you got back from a 36-hour trip to Turkey, would you be at the office today? You would be taking a travel day, a recuperation day. He is at work right now. When does he sleep? I guess he could have slept on the plane, and he has a sweet bedroom on that plane. All right, are we ready? Here we go. Graham Plattner. Hit it.
Hey, everyone. It's Graham Plattner here. I think as many of you know, over the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear. This is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real. It has placed an immense amount of weight on me as I think about what needs to happen now. Amy and I are regular people. We were not looking for this experience. We were not looking to get into politics. We had no desire to run for office. I just want you to think about what you would do as a regular person in a position where a much larger world, large forces were working against you personally to accuse you of the worst thing that a person could do, and it was not remotely true. I learned about this through press inquiries, with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end. I think it's really important to understand why this is happening in the timeline, why this is happening right now. Much like October, when the first attack started, much like the news that was created the week before the primary, there is a reason that this is happening now. I only have until July 13th until I am officially the nominee. This was the last week to try to get me off of the ballot. And that's why this is occurring. It's not the false allegations, though, that have brought us to where we are. It's the fact that they are being used by the political establishment to put structural pressure on us. We live in a political system that is not built for normal people. It is a system that is built structurally to make sure that movements like ours cannot flourish. That if they begin to succeed, they can be crushed. What we have accomplished here, you made possible. The people of Maine, the volunteers, the voters, the grassroots donors, and I have all the faith in the world that we could win.
This is the problem. You know, one of the things is he's not that smart and he's not that sophisticated because they're going to take away all the structure of the campaign. That's what he's saying, right? They're going to take away a mailing list. He won't be able to raise money unless he stays the nominee. And then they're going to have to. That's what I would have done. That's what, I mean, yeah. And maybe someday I'll have to. Who the hell knows? Keep going.
And I have all the faith in the world that we could win if we could continue to harness that. But the brutal political reality is that they are going to take everything away from us. Those in power who have the ability to do so are using these allegations as an excuse to take away all of the things that we need to run a campaign. We are going to lose our ability to fundraise. We are going to lose our ability to access voter data. We are going to lose all of the things that any campaign needs on the basic level simply to function. Larger organizations, the national level party, the bigger donor networks, they have all committed to spending no money in this race if I'm in it.
Stop.
They would rather see...
Stop. You should have called the bluff, right? Okay. Well, I guess I'll just hang around till the end then. If you think if you believe this lady so much, all right, but I'm not going. I remember what Justice Kavanaugh said. You may defeat me in the end, but I will never quit, ever. And it's like that's what he should have done because that's the whole thing. He would have changed the reality, and he should have, because the allegations against him, it's bigger than him. It's about every man out there, for crying out loud. Anybody can be taken out. Now, we were kind of handling that pretty well because tough guys like Kavanaugh and Trump would not give in to phony, fake allegations with no evidence. But this guy's weak. And the ramifications are bigger than Maine, all right? I think he's got a little bit more. Keep it up.
They would rather see Susan Collins win than have me be the next senator from Maine. What comes next needs to come from the people. Needs to come from the people of Maine. Needs to come from the voters who on June 9th, at a strength of over 150,000, the largest number in the history of Maine primaries, said no to this kind of politics. Voted for a politics that would actually represent them. Voted against the political system, against the donor class, against the entrenched forces. And I'm not asking for how this process is going to work. I'm not trying to dictate to anyone who it should be or how we get there, but I will say this. It needs to be open, transparent, and democratic.
I don't care.
It needs to be reflecting
it's too late
the
for
will
that.
and the values of the people
Stop.
that built.
This guy got 150,000 votes 2 weeks ago. Now they're going to talk. Now it's going to be democratic. That was democratic. This is Soviet. This is nasty, dark party stuff from the Soviet Union. That's how they roll over there. I thought we didn't do that here. The lady with the accusations are going to have that next. It's a great big fake. And very few people, even conservatives, especially conservatives, quite frankly, will be doing what I will be doing, which is taking you through that woman's truth, right? Her truth or the truth. It's not the truth. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I heard somebody on the news saying that the building, they kept saying the building is 100 years old on 42nd Street. It's not. It was built in the 1960s. Looks like they're going to figure out a way to keep it standing. It ain't going to fall down on the street, but they will have to dismantle it. And that can. You notice we never demolition buildings here. We never raise them with explosives. We don't do that. There must be a law about that. But when they took down some of the buildings around the World Trade Center, well after 9/11, that were damaged in the attacks, like Deutsche Bank, took them like 2 years, piece by piece, brick by brick. They got to take it down one at a time. All right, so this is the accuser. Her name is Jenny. We'll hear all this, but she met Graham Plattner, on Bumblebee, the app Bumblebee. Is that what it's called? You shake it up and it like gives you a name. And if you like the guy or you like the picture, you swipe right or you swipe left. And then you shake it up again. It depends. You can set it up. If you're a guy and you're looking for a girl, you're a girl looking for a guy, you're a girl looking for a girl, a guy looking for a guy, a girl looking for two girls. It's all in there. Any variety you want. But most people, it's a regular dating thing. It's not kinky or anything like that. So that's how they met. And they dated for on and off casually for 2 years. And then one night was not nice. But let's hear it, okay? Let's hear it. I am skeptical of this whole damn thing, and you should be too. And this is bigger than Maine again, all right? You ready? Her name is Jenny, and she's on CNN speaking her truth. When did that become a thing, when you talk about your truth? It used to be the truth, the truth. Anybody remember that from Brady Bunch or Davy and Goliath? All right. Go ahead and hit it, please.
You described your relationship with Graham.
Oh, by the way, for some reason,
very good.
Stop. Jake Tapper forgot to wear his microphone. That's what he sounds like throughout the whole damn thing. It's not us. It's him. All right. Pick it up. Sorry.
You described your relationship with Graham Plattner as a very good example of what modern dating is like.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that, I think there's a lot of situationships. I think people are dating multiple people at the same time, whether that's known or not known by the people involved. So it was just a very common practice is what I viewed it as.
And kind of casual.
Yeah, very casual.
And when did you meet him and how did you meet him?
Met him on Bumble, actually, in 2019. And I had known who he was. He grew up in the next town over. We had like a mutual family friend, so I always knew of his existence, but that was when we actually met.
And what did you think of him?
At first I thought he was great. He's very well spoken, he's intelligent, he's charming. I thought a lot of good things. We had a great first date. It went and flowed really well.
He has described himself as self-medicating with alcohol.
Yeah.
He has described himself that way.
Yeah.
So I would think maybe that would have reared its head.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's something that I think a lot of people are desensitized to, in general, heavy drinking, and especially out of the relationship that I had just come out of. So it wasn't anything abnormal to me. I remember we were out one night and he was drinking, and that's when he told me that he has PTSD.
When the New York Times story came out, you were in it, but you didn't go as far in that story as you are today.
Yeah.
Why not?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to violate this huge level of privacy to my own life to be able to infer that this person is not honest and trustworthy. I felt really protective of my own privacy throughout this whole process. And it got to a point where my privacy was no longer going to happen. And that was when I kind of just made the decision that, like, I'm going to say my piece and get it out there. I had tried to give the impression that something, worse happened. And that's when it was like, I refused to comment further.
You definitely alluded to a bad night.
Yeah.
So bad that you never saw him again afterwards.
Yeah.
But just to underline the point, you're not coming forward because you have any political motivation.
No, not at all. That was actually one of the huge reasons that I didn't come forward and still struggled. Like, that was a huge moral conflict to feel like...
Because you'd like a Democrat to be in the Senate.
Yeah. I like the things that he speaks about. They're important. They're important to people. I'm one of those people.
But at the end of the day, you feel he's not being honest.
He's not being honest, no.
And we should note, this is 2021 we're talking about. It's only 5 years ago. Tell me about that. When was it?
Stop for a second.
It was at the end of 2020.
Couple of things. He said on the first date that he had PTSD. Oh, gosh, this PTSD thing. It's, talk about a racket, all right? Post-traumatic stress disorder. I call it pretty typical stuff, all right? Pretty typical stuff that takes place in the military. All right, I got to work on that acronym. Pretty typical stuff for daily military life. How's that? There's the D. It's just stuff. Everybody, you get knocked around in life. Now we've given everybody a crutch. Oh, you got this label. Oh, sympathy. Oh, VA. Just get on with it. Get on with it. We want everybody wallowing. All right, I've heard nothing that makes me think anything at this point other than he's a baby. Why didn't she tell this story 2 weeks ago? What the hell is going on? This is not America, and this Jake chump is just, what happened next? Keep going.
It was at the end of 2021. I remember it being shortly after I moved back into my winter home.
5 years ago.
Because that is where it happened. And it was a night where him and I were texting back and forth, and he had
bad
taken
grammar.
Something that I said as an invitation. And that's not how I meant it. And I quickly clarified. And he sent a message back indicating that he would come over. And I said, no, don't come over. Like, I'm not in the mood. Don't come over.
Hey, stop for a second. Did you hear that? She sent a message, and it was an invitation to come over. That's how he read it, and that's how she sent it. What did she... Hey, you know what the next question is? Well, what did you text? What did you text? Did you text the nudie pic? What the hell happened? He took that as an invitation to come over. And then it's wrong, isn't it? Isn't it a little bit wrong? Oh, we have some women in the control booth. This is throwing my vibe a little bit, but it's okay. No, women, we can talk about this. I don't care who's watching. This is wrong. This is not America. And you guys, you women, you have brothers, you have fathers, you'll have sons someday. They can't be vulnerable like this. All right, pick it up if you don't mind.
And I was more stern with that message. And then I didn't hear back from him. So I thought that meant he got the message or gave up on it or whatnot. And so like half an hour later, I heard a noise outside my door. And then he came in. He just came into my house. It was unlocked. I live in an area where you don't usually have to lock your doors. I do now. So he came in and I realized, okay, he didn't listen. He's in my home. And I was laying on the couch. It was probably pretty late at night. And
you invited them over. You invited him over. And I kept on hearing how he broke into the house. It's Maine. She talks about how nobody kept their doors locked around here. She's been seeing the guy on and off casually for 2 years. That's not nothing. It's part of the whole damn thing. You know why people won't point these things out? Because they're afraid. They're afraid that someone's going to point the finger at them. They're afraid. That Me Too thing left a big scar on people. Me too, to be honest. But you know what? When a wound heals or a bone breaks, it comes back. Guess what? Stronger. And more resistant and more sensitive to this kind of crap. Keep going, please.
I was already ready for bed. I just wasn't in bed. And so he had kind of like jumped on top of me and indicated that he had intentions that were sexual in nature.
Stop. He kind of jumped on top of me. Now, what in the hell does that mean? And he expressed intentions that were sexual. Can you speak in plain English here? Doesn't it sound like that she's been lawyered up or something? There's something weird about the whole... He kind of jumped up on me. That's like what a dog does when it humps your leg. What is going on? Why, Jake, are you afraid of this lady? Keep going.
And I remember just at first being like, hey, I'm not into this. Like, I'm not in this, like, mood. Like, don't, whatever.
All right, stop for a second. That's a little bit, right? I mean, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm not in the mood. I don't know. I'm not into this. It's a little bit, oh my God, Greg, no means no. Well, she hasn't quite said that, has she? Even Justin thinks I'm crazy on this one. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think I'm being crazy. I think all you people are crazy. Not only Maine, the whole damn country, the whole media ecosystem, including Fox News that listens to this crap and doesn't say, cut the crap. I'm not doing this for Graham Plattner, by the way. I could give a damn. Keep going.
And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like I've said this enough times. Like, he's not listening to me or he's not hearing me. And I looked at him and I remember this very specific look in his eyes. And I could smell alcohol and I was like, this is different. He is heavily intoxicated. Like, and that blank stare was kind of like a photographic memory that I still have of that night. And his... that was me recognizing what the situation was. And this wasn't just like, oh, hey, somebody showed up and I'm going to tell him to go home. Like, he was heavily intoxicated, had intentions with me, and wasn't listening when I said no. And
well, hold on a second. Now, look, I want to say that no means no, all right? But there are some variables here that she is presenting that don't make sense. I remember his eyes. You know, he's talking about, I've never seen this before. She just told us that he got very intoxicated in that bar when he told her that he had PTSD. Do you remember that? I do. Does she remember that? I don't think so, because I think she's making it up as she goes along. And it's a free country. You can say that. Keep going, please.
And
you were saying, no, don't, no, over and over.
I remember, obviously I've had to recall a lot of this. This is something that I tried for many years to forget. And so small details, might get past me. But yes, I remember very specifically saying, I'm not into this.
All right. You see what Jake is leading the witness. But you were saying, no. You were saying, no. And then she's like, well, I forgot a lot about this, but I really remember kind of saying something. What a load of crap. This ain't even I'm sorry. You know what? I was falsely accused. If I'm a little sensitive, if I'm a little raw about this, well, there's a reason. Keep going.
Told him I had an old back injury, and I remember saying, like, I'm not in this. I've had a long day in this. My back hurts. Like I was in that kind of mood, like the leave me alone mood. And there was a little bit of like scuffle, like altercation. The house that I live in has like this antique sewing kit that I kept beside the couch, and that got knocked over. He like backed into it, or something was maybe pushed into it by me, or something happened in that moment, and that thing got spilled. And
do you remember pushing him away?
I remember potentially pushing away with my legs, like, and then as he backed into it, it spilt, and all of the sewing needles and tape and yarn and everything went everywhere. Everything had fallen onto the floor. And in that moment, I evaluated my safety. Like, a drunk person who's blackout drunk is in my home, has these intentions with me, has already caused this amount of destruction and not listening to me. And so I basically felt safe as just complying.
You normally use protection.
After all, he knocked over my sewing machine, so I had no other choice. But to what? After he knocked over the sewing machine, I realized, oh my God, what? How is somebody blackout drunk? The blackout drunk is really the drunk ascertains that the next day, right? When you can't remember anything. Can you tell somebody's blackout drunk while they're drunk? Can you? I don't think you can. Anyway, the whole thing stinks. All right, so what happened next?
And this time he didn't. And you didn't want that.
No.
And he didn't care.
No, I don't think. My words were falling on deaf ears or drunk ears.
And you were still saying, don't do this, or I'm not into this?
I remember specifically him, like, grabbing at my chest, and I, like, hit his hand, and I said, don't touch me. And I remember that during the altercation,
and
specifically.
Then he kept going.
Yeah, and it was this weird mix of, like, coming in and out of, I don't think consciousness is a word, but, like, coming to and kind of falling back into that drunken, I don't know what I'm doing state.
This is the kind of thing where you got to just say, hey, do me a favor. I'm asking too many questions here. Tell me what happened. You got to tell me the whole story, because Jake has totally screwed this thing up. I evaluated my safety, though. Then I started complying. Were you being held hostage? Hey, 50% of the people, 70% of the people just voted for this guy. This is from 5 years ago. She didn't tell the police. She's telling Jake freaking Tapper. There's that right there. That's it. That's all I need to not believe. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm running a little bit late. We'll have more of this farce when I come back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Just remembering that Jake Tapper is the one who shut down an interview with Laura Trump when she said that Joe Biden seemed to be out of it during 2020 and hinted that he might have, early onset dementia or something like that. And Jake couldn't tolerate that. Shut down the interview. Insulted her. This is one of the biggest liars in the country, Jake. And that's who you go to? What about the Maine State Police? How many women might have been saved? Right? Because I would assume that he could do this again. Keep going.
Yeah, and he would apologize in those moments and then go back to doing what he was doing.
So he was aware that he was doing something wrong and saying sorry.
I feel like he was, in moments.
Is there any way that he thought this was consensual or no? Just because...
I don't believe that you can think that that scenario was consensual. You have to understand that wasn't when somebody is repeatedly... when somebody in the middle of it says, don't touch me, that's obviously not consensual.
Especially if he's apologizing on occasion.
Yeah. And that next morning, so after everything ended, I ran to the bathroom, which is just beside my bedroom, and I was in there for a while and just trying to comprehend things. Were
you crying? Were you...
I honestly don't think I was crying. I was more in shock and just trying to understand what had just happened. Especially this is a person I have known and have trusted and have had very consensual relationships with, all along until it wasn't. And so that was a really hard thing to understand, that this was a person I trusted. And So I spent a little bit of time in the bathroom, and when I came back out, he was asleep in my bed. And at that point, I didn't know what my options were. Like, obviously, I don't want this person in my house. And when I, earlier had realized how drunk he was, I knew that he had driven over that way. Like, I'm surprised he made it to my house. And if I woke him up and sent him home, like, I am now making the decision to put somebody that drunk on the road. And I didn't want to live with the fact that, like, if he got into an accident or hurt somebody else. And I remember thinking that I could tell him to leave, and I could call the police immediately, and I could at least get him caught for drunk driving. So I was like, I'm going to let him sleep, and the second he wakes up, I'm going to tell him to leave. And so he slept.
Oh, a bad word is coming up. A bad word.
And I remember turning on, I have like one of those noise machines that you sleep with, and I turn it on Ocean Waves, and I'm like, I'll just try to meditate. It didn't work.
All right, do me a favor. Let's stop this. All right, because she's about to say the bad word. It doesn't get any more, specific. I just don't think I don't think you can shut down a campaign over something so flimsy. And where are the voters? Huh? Don't they matter? Don't they matter a little bit? I think they kind of matter. I think they should matter very much. I got to leave that alone for a second. James Flippin, do me a favor. What do you make of all this crap with this Plattner and this? I find her to be very, very uncredible, no credibility.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I haven't really watched her speak about it, but I just know that the circumstances surrounding it all are very convenient, I guess you could say. I've read some sort of conspiratorial thinking about it, that maybe the powers that be in the Democratic Party kind of liked having a flawed candidate, liked having a guy who could be subject to blackmail and things like that. But the truth of it is, I don't know how much that really matters, because whether it's somebody who was put in place because he is a easily manipulated political asset, or if it's somebody who just really is this bad guy that he seems to be, it reflects poorly on the powers that be in the Democratic Party. And whether Graham Plattner's leaving for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, I think it just goes to show you that the DNC and its arm in Maine have absolutely no clue what they're doing. Anyway, James Flippin' the News is coming up. The Greg Kelly Show will continue.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?